Library branch in Silver Spring, Maryland, where I grew up. I remember being left alone in the library by my parents, usually my mother, who would go off to the adult section and leave me in the kids section. And I can remember staggering from shelf to shelf and pulling stuff down, and she would find me at the end of a 2 or 3 hour period just buried in books, having read 20 or 30 in a row. Obviously children's books, not Dostoevsky or anything, but I just remember being lost back in the stacks and loving the feeling of being lost. I also remember the bookmobile. We had bookmobiles in Montgomery County, and I remember the feeling of stepping on that truck and having it be full of books and thinking that it made perfect sense for the books to be on a truck somewhere and for the truck to come to my neighborhood. I do. I have to say that my favorite librarian is Madeline Littman, and I have to say that because she is my mother-in-law. But actually, if I think about it, I would say that the woman who was the librarian on the bookmobile, who would often hand me the book that she thought I was ready for, and I don't know her name. I wish I could find out her name, but of course I was 5, 6 years old. She was the one who decided I was ready for Curious George. She was the one who decided I was ready for A Wrinkle in Time. And I remember, she was a big part of my life all the way through about 5th grade. Well, I was being, I guess, a little bit flippant about the fact that we continually buy every book that isn't nailed down in my household, but that's an indulgence that I work in television now, and apparently I have some discretionary income, but a lot of people don't. And access to a library card is access to the world, and it's access to the world regardless of who you are, how much money you have, what your financial situation is, what your family's financial situation is. It is the great equalizer, the great empowering element in our society, is the ability to consume ideas at any pace and in any way you want to. And I think that for anyone who wants to know more today than they knew yesterday and wants to know more tomorrow, the library card is the great equalizer. It's the great instrument. I have no use for them. I just don't know what to say about the amount of resistance to the world of ideas. Ideas stand on their own, or they fall on the merits of the ideas themselves, not on the basis of some artificial theology or some, I have very little use for moralism. I think that moralism without being able to stand up to intellectual rigor is a false morality. And I look at books that are even as elemental to the American experience as Huck Finn, being re-edited to take out the ugliness in American history. That book matters because of the ugliness that's in its pages, because of what Twain is documenting, and Jim's journey to humanity, to the full rigor of humanity, is important because of how he's regarded in his time and place. You take that out of it, and Jim's journey and the journey down the river mean less. That people would be arguing over this in a new century is embarrassing.